Alright guys, so I wanted to make a video for the kids that are at home for various reasons. So if you were with me in class, this is a great review for you, but you've already heard pretty much all of this in class. Your exam slash test is going to be basically just on the heart. One of the biggest things that you need to know is how to label the heart and blood flow through the heart. So we pulled up, when I was in class, we pulled up this picture and we basically went over all of the parts of the heart. So when I say labeling the heart, this is what you need to be concentrating on and studying. You see how it's got 4 chambers, right atrium, left atrium. So your atriums are at the top, ventricles are at the bottom, right ventricle, left ventricle. Pay attention to the blue and the red. Blue and the red are very significant. Blue means blood is deoxygenated. Red means blood is oxygenated. You ever heard that expression? Oh my goodness, you got bright red blood, meaning it's full of oxygen and you're good to go. We talked about how blood is basically a big cycle, right? It's deoxygenated, it goes to the lungs and it gets oxygenated. In the lungs, we swap out oxygen for CO2. So the blood gets oxygenated in the lungs, then it goes to the other side of the heart, and then it goes to the rest of the body. You see you have your superior and inferior vena cava, which makes sense because we now know from previous chapters, right, what superior and inferior mean. That's deoxygenated blood. That is blood that's already been through the body. It's lost all of its oxygen and it needs oxygen again. So it comes into the superior and inferior vena cava. It goes to the right atrium. There are different valves. If you look, there's the tricuspid valve on one side. You've got the tricuspid valve on one side. You've got the mitral valve on the other side. You've also got a pulmonary valve and an aortic valve. Okay, it's essential for you to do well on the test that you know the anatomy of the heart. Meaning, you might see, you know, what valve is in between the right and left, right atrium and right ventricle, and carries deoxygenated blood. That's the tricuspid valve. Or what valve is in between the left atrium and the left ventricle and has oxygenated blood? That's going to be your mitral or bicuspid valve, right? So you can follow the pathway. It goes to the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. It dumps into the right atrium. It goes into the tricuspid valve. It goes to the right ventricle. It goes through the pulmonary valve. Remember, pulmonary means lungs. If you see anything that says pulmonary, that's lungs. So it goes from the right ventricle to the pulmonary valve to the pulmonary arteries. We have 2 pulmonary arteries. We have 4 pulmonary veins, if you look at the picture. Typically, arteries carry oxygenated blood and veins carry deoxygenated blood, except for the heart, like we talked about in class. For whatever reason, I don't know why, I guess they like to confuse us, right? They switch it up in the heart. So you see that's a pulmonary artery. We have 2 of them. They're technically carrying deoxygenated blood, because they're blue. Typically, they would be carrying oxygenated blood in all the other parts of the body. But in the heart, they flip it up. So it goes from the pulmonary artery to the lungs. It swaps out its oxygen for its CO2.
Good morning, teachers and staff. Teachers and staff that are in the accommodations testing room for next